Hi, Josh Lafazan. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on the show.
I'm so excited for you to join us. And for those of the viewers who don't know, Josh is the youngest elected official on Long Island. He was on the cover of Newsday at 18 years old because he was the youngest school board elected official in the state. And Josh, how are you and what's going on? And you're the legislator in my hometown of Syosset.
I'm on my best behavior because you are not only the host of the show, but you are my constituents. So I want to make sure I'm my best behavior, but I'm doing great. I mean, these are unprecedented times, but I get to continue to serve my community, and I have the greatest job in the world, just making a difference for my constituents. So I'm doing great, a little tired, but I think we all are, and we're all in this together.
So what is your day-to-day like now since the pandemic hit?
Sure. So my office staff is working from home, but I'm out in the community. We have a couple of different programs that we're running. The biggest program we're running is shopping for senior citizens. COVID-19 is a really scary time for seniors, many of whom can't leave their homes due to transportation issues or are afraid to leave and contract the virus. So what we do is we have 200 volunteers, volunteer shoppers, many young people who are paired with a senior, and I'm doing a lot of the pairing. So if you're a senior and you can't leave and you need someone to shop, you call our office. We then pair you with a shopper. The senior gives you their shopping list. The shopper goes to the supermarket, buys the items, calls the senior and says how much it is. Senior puts a check or cash in the mailbox. Shopper drops off the items to the front door. It's an old school Instacart, and we've helped over 200 senior citizens so far and climbing in our district. So our day-to-day is focused on constituent service.
That's wonderful. You always come up with these creative ideas. Didn't you do something similar for drunk driving to avoid drunk driving?
I did. So I was a senior in high school, and I said to this day, I've never finished a full beer. So you can imagine when I turned 17, I was the DD for pretty much the entire Syosset High School student body. I took it upon myself because teenage drinking and driving has not gone away, but it was an epidemic. It was truly horrible in the early, 2010s here on Long Island. So 2011, September, I'm a senior in high school, and I'm reading about drunk driving all in the news, and I worried about my classmates because the truth is that many of them feared getting caught drunk behind the wheel or getting caught drunk out more than hurting someone on the road. They fear getting caught by their parents more than hurting somebody or themselves on the road. So I would drive home 45 to 50 kids a weekend myself. It stopped because my mother would go to the gym at 5:30 a.m. and I would come home at 5:30 a.m. from dropping kids off. And she said, either you get some help or you stop doing this. So what I did is I started Safe Ride Syosset. And how it worked was that Syosset High School students who either drank or were driven by someone who drank would call my cell on Friday and Saturday nights from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And we'd go pick them up and take them home free of charge. And in 2012, we took home 350 kids, and there wasn't a single drinking and driving accident on our watch.
Wow, how innovative, Josh. You've always been this way, evidently, since you were a senior in high school. So between that time and now, what had you been working on before the virus?
Sure. So, I'm a policy wonk, right? What I studied in college, and I was working on legislation. My areas of passion are really threefold. One is making sure people with disabilities have equal protection under the law, and have equal access to government services. Second is taking care of our veterans. 5,000 veterans in Nassau are homeless, soon to be homeless, or housing insecure, and taking care of our heroes when they come back. And third is, of course, helping those who suffer from drug and alcohol addiction. I've lost 5 friends to the disease of addiction, and I won't stop until we ensure that everyone has the resources they need to enter recovery, because recovery is a miracle and it's real if we can help people get the treatment they need. So that's legislation. It's still ongoing, but legislation has taken a backseat to constituent service. Right now, I'm focused on can we make sure that those folks who are out of work get the unemployment benefits that they are entitled to? Can we make sure that small businesses are connected with pro bono resources to go after funds, whether it's PPP and the CARES Act? Can we make sure that senior citizens who can't leave their home get food? What happens if you need medicine and you can't leave the house? Can we make sure we transport that to you? So I've shifted my entire focus to constituent service, and it'll probably be like that for the foreseeable future.
So who's your day-to-day contacts as far as government? Like, you work with the county executive, and
Sure.
who else in the chain of command to get the answers to some of these questions that really are determined maybe on a federal or state level? How do you get the answers on the local level?
Sure. So I joke that Senator Jim Gorin is going to block my cell phone number because we call his office 9 times an hour, but they have been fantastic. Senator Gorin, Congressman Swazi's office has been wonderful in terms of helping us navigate some of the federal legislation as well. Assemblyman Levine's office and the county executive. So it's interesting because the issues really, the lines of government dissipate. Right? When someone calls our office, they don't care if it's the county's jurisdiction or the town or the state. They just want help. So I think now more than ever, there's been a real working together. I'll tell you, I'm a registered independent. I caucus with the Democrats here in the legislature, but I hosted a supply drive to get PPE for our first responders here in Oyster Bay. I co-hosted it with 2 Republicans. The earth is still rotating, right? We can work together. And I joke, and I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that, people ask me why, why are you going to host it with 2 Republicans? Because they represent Oyster Bay, and because we work together, and because the virus does not affect Republicans or Democrats in a vacuum. It affects us all. And I think we have to remember that before we're Republicans or Democrats, quite frankly, we're Americans. And during the worst of times, we have to make sure the best of humanity rises to the top.
And that's a great message. It's a nonpartisan issue. And I've always been a fan of bipartisanship. So I think it's wonderful that you're able to work across the aisle.
Thank you.
What else are you working on? Today you have a legislature meeting. So what's happening then?
Well, it's funny because I know I'm coming to you from my office, but I have my mask and my gloves, and I'll be able to, go down. And government doesn't stop. But it's important as government officials that we model behavior. If we're going to ask residents to go out and wear masks and gloves, it's important that we model that behavior as well. So go downstairs to the chambers. The business of government goes on as usual. Obviously, we're laser focused on the virus. Today, I know a big ticket issue is trying to help residents delay the date in which they have to pay their property taxes. At the county level, it's interesting. The majority of the relief is coming from the federal level, and I do wish sometimes that I was in Washington to be able to deliver economic relief, but I'm in Mineola, and I'm going to do what I can to provide the relief that we can. So I'm hoping today, unanimously as a legislature, we'll be able to extend the payment date.
Thank you, Josh. You're such a go-getter.
You know what? I learned from you. It's very easy. It's enthusiasm is contagious, and I think that anybody who's around you, virtually or in real life, feeds off your enthusiasm and your compassion, and it's hard not to smile and get fired up when we see Skye Ostreicher, host of the show and Politico extraordinaire.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you so much for joining us and for taking the time and for all that you do for your residents, your constituents, and for everyone. You're a role model to everyone. I'm proud to serve you. Say hi to your mom for me. And I have the greatest job in the world. So to everyone who put me here in this chair, thank you very much. Thank you.